All right, hello there, everybody. We are back, doing a bit more of a classic game design stream today, as opposed to the sort of more musical hangout from earlier, where we were going through the Red Steel uh, adventure and campaign setting CDs there. Um, so it's been a hot minute since I've been on stream. It's been a bit busy, just kind of in personal life. But I do have a good amount of stuff that I have been working on, and I am excited to share with you guys. So, first thing is the one thing that I've been kind of saying we need to get to for a good amount of time, and that is going to be the Mark of the Inward Eye do list. Let's just go ahead and full screen our drafting tabs here and jump right on into designing it. All right. Sub tab here. All right. So what we are looking at here is going to be good amount of kind of narrative and roleplay forward features to this class. They're going to be feel much more like a detective, learning more about the creatures on the battlefield around them, learning more about just kind of the nature of the world around them as well. So they're going to have a bit more of a scholarly feel to them. So let's go ahead and grab some of our data over here for just making copying and pasting a bit easier here. All right. So our first feature here, I'm going to make sure that this is the proper. Yep, this is. All right. So our first feature that we're going to go ahead and implement here is called Closer Inspection. And this is just kind of a feature that is all about doing a once over on an environment that you are investigating. Did I shift my music over to not? There we go. All right, so it's going to be a bit more relaxed then. So it's going to be much more on the explorer side rather than the combat side, which is good. All right, so cover all contingencies. That's not what we're doing here. That is another subclass's abilities. So closer inspection. So the drafted ability that I created for this feature is when you make an intellect or wisdom ability challenge with a skill you are proficient in, you take the search or take the search action. You increase the size of your proficiency die one step. So that's just going to mean your int and wiz skills, you're going to be using a d8 instead of a d6, and then a d10 instead of a d8 at higher levels. And that's going to work for any intellect or wisdom skill ability challenge, or whenever you take the search action. Whenever you make an ability challenge, using your intellect or wisdom. Is it wisdom? Yes. Ability scores. Or take the search action you gain a bonus to your proficiency. Your keen eyes and innate curious. Keen eyes and curiosity. Keen eyes and investigative career. Allow you to increase the size of your proficiency die by 1 step. At second level, and until you are a 5th level adventurer, you roll 1d a d8 as your proficiency in these situations. This die becomes a d10 from 6th to 10th level. And that's just playing entirely off of, go to our core rulebook here, gonna search proficiency die, should be our number 1 result here. Okay, it's not quite. There we go. Proficiency. Okay, so it's not well explained. So that's going to be something we need to do. The point is, you have a proficiency die, and it is a d6. So whenever you would be rolling a check that you are proficient in, you roll an additional d6 to represent that proficiency. And so that 1d6 proficiency die becomes a d8 at higher levels. So we run back here. Level and until you are a 5th. Yeah. All right. So our next feature here comes with the 2nd level feature, Know Thy Enemy, which is... Sorry, I'm getting notifications all over the place, and so my just turn around and focusing on. You need to just focus here. So know thy enemy. Okay. Yes. So, know thy enemy is kind of similar to how the Cobalt Soul monks extract aspects works. So, when you attack a creature with the calling card condition, you learn a number of things about the creature of your choice from the list below, based on your current momentum value. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this right. When you attack a creature with the calling card condition, you can analyze it, learning a number of things about the creature, number of things about the creature from its from the list below, based on your current momentum value. All right. So let's go ahead and get a table in here. And so that's going to be all about where we can have our momentum value. Yes. Momentum value. Great. Okay, my monitor is not completely. Oh, hang on. Why are you doing this? So I've got a streamer bot that just got thrown all the way over there. That, you know what? That's fine. It can live there. It just needs to be open and active. You're a useful piece of information there, just as far as templates go. And then, of course, my large doc of just Twitch information. Okay, there we go. That should be good there. So momentum value is going to be scaling at points of like 1. So this is going to be something that is always useful, something that you can use repeatedly on multiple different turns to learn more about your targets. So We have a hang on. Yeah. We need all right, so we have different tiers here that are going to get us different pieces of information learned. One learned attribute. The one learned attribute. We can just leave it at that. One, two, three, 4, and 5, as kind of would be expected. All right. What kind of burgers? They're just gonna be kind of standard beef burgers, well seasoned, cheeseburgers. You know, I've looks like I've got probably about hour, maybe somewhere between about half hour, 45 minutes left on the clock here before I've got to run. But I think I'm just gonna be cooking the burgers on the stove there, melting the cheese, and then getting things ready for my girlfriend and I for dinner. But yeah, all is going fantastic, Hungry Kobold. Let me hang on. Good. There we go. All right. But in the meantime, I am writing up a duelist subclass for the my RPG Underkeeper here. Yeah, happy to have you. Learning a number of things about the creature based on your current momentum value. When you deal damage there. Nice, I have a habit of trying burger of a place to try find the best burger. Yep. Oh yeah, same here. Unfortunately, where I'm at right now, we don't have a ton of like great burger places around, so every once in a while when we get the opportunity to, you know, make burgers, or like we find beef at a good deal, that's the good stuff. So you know, I am quite looking forward to party burger dinner tonight. When you make this attack, okay. I need to. Okay, so we've got. When you attack a creature, you analyze it, learning a number of things about the creature based on your current momentum value. For each piece of information learned, I only have Chinese places around where I live, so I have to travel for decent burgers. And I don't really count McDonald's as good burgers, but KFC does do decent with theirs. I have not had a KFC burger. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't count McDonald's as a good burger because the truth is they're fine. But like, it's McDonald's. Like, you've had it so many times before, it kind of just becomes its own sort of subcategory. Like, it's just It's fine. It's good. It's McDonald's. But like when I think of going to a burger place, I'm thinking either something that's like off the grill or off like a heated skillet, something that's chef crafted, thick juicy bun, probably a pickle spear on the side, maybe an egg. I know I love an egg on my burger, but I know that's maybe a contentious cat topic. um, each piece of information learned in this manner, choose one of the following aspects about the creature to learn. Okay, so this here is our kind of big list here. I'm going to just put it right now as a bullet point list, though I'm not sure that that's going to be the proper actual like how it looks in the final version of the game. So any damage so we have vulnerabilities, resistances, and immunities there. KFC's that's fair, yeah. And can't say for all KFCs, but the one near you live. All right. Yeah, no, I always think of when I go to a KFC just because like it's a chicken place, and so I usually just go for a chicken sandwich there. But the biggest problem for KFC near me is that the direction I have to go to get to a KFC, I have to drive past a Popeyes, and I'm gonna turn into there first usually if I'm going for chicken. Vulnerabilities. And damage. Okay, so we'll just do formatting that later, I guess. Any damage hang on. The creatures damage vulnerability if it has any. If it has any, there we go. Creatures damage resistances. Yeah. Creatures damage immunities. KFC chicken burger. They call it a zinger burger. Their buns are usually quite good. Chicken is the best part. Nice. All right, yeah, I will have to give it a shot next time I am up by the KFC. Yeah. All right. So we have vulnerabilities, resistances, immunities. Then we have condition, resistances, and immunities. Once again, if it has any. There's always the chance that it just does not. See here, we've got. Oh, hang on. I need to. There we go. I forgot to turn on my lower thirds again after my stream this morning, where I was playing the Red Steel music, and since I was just kind of pulling that down since it wasn't pocket barred, and now that I've got them back up, I want to make sure I am giving them credit for their musical works. Cool. All right. Condition resistances and immunities. Has any creatures current number of hit points 42 defense value. The creature's reflex defense value. Usually decent for the burger. They almost get out. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The creature's will defense value. All right. So those are the things that can be learned here. How can we format this so as to be most useful? Weapon damage rolls for current characters. Bard with 10 strength. Good idea to use. Okay. Ooh. Bard with 10 strength. 2d6 plus 8 slashing, 2d6 psychic, and 2d6 radiant. That seems rather strong. Your weapon's damage rolls. Okay. It's a scythe. Okay. Does the scythe have any sort of magical properties to it? Just because on its own, I'm thinking a scythe is what? D8, D10 slashing damage? Hang on, let's go ahead and look that up there. Oh. This is not an official weapon. Okay. D20 SRDs. Yeah, let's go. General tools, magic items, equipment. That's what we're looking for, I think. Weapons. There we go. Because right now, like I can see justifications for it having a lot there. Just as far as like a mathematical breakdown. A scythe, if we're assuming that it's going to be a strength weapon, a 10 strength would mean that you have like a +8 efficiency. Does make magical weapons more impactful, will increase with its modifier space level. No. Okay. Interesting. I mean, did your GM say that the 2d6 plus 8 like that formula there is the damage it would do on a hit? Oh man, these ads are tanking my frame rate here. Hang on. Yep, I am not seeing a scythe. Okay. Yep, I thought it was +5. Oh, it's +8. Okay. Interesting. Because where is my yes, yeah. How does this show up for the camera? Oh, that shows up okay. Okay. Like I play a martial character in one of my friends' games, And so I've got a couple of different swords that I use. And I mean, on one hand, +8 is kind of pretty normal for my character to have as their attack, but that's because they're getting bonuses from having a high dexterity. And so if you're using your strength here, which is a 10, its base modifier is going to be +0. So you you might have one of your bards, so you're not going to get fighting styles. So that wouldn't get the +2 there. I mean, so that would be, yeah. I mean, if your GM is letting you work with that as your numbers there, I mean, roll with it. But like, as far as that's it, Hill Giant Strength Potions, that's gonna do it there. I would check with them to make sure that is how they were scaling their math there, because strength score becomes 21 for an hour. That 21 is going to get you that +5. And then so your proficiency bonus, I'm assuming you're maybe 5th level or so here, 5th, 6th level. That's going to be +3, so that's going to get you the +8 to attack there. Prepping for war, so probably, yep. Yeah, no. If your GM is saying that it's +8 there, and they're accounting for you having the Hill Giant Strength Potion, that's where that modifier would come from. Because otherwise, I think it would just be a +3 if you're proficient. But yeah, I mean that is a powerful scythe. 2d6 is a basic damage die. I think that works very well for kind of the fantasy that you're going for there. The psychic and radiant added on, that's definitely some sort of magical enchantment, at least as far as what it reads to me. But yeah, I'm assuming that your GM has rules and such for that and like narrative reasons for that, so I'm not going to question it too much there. But yeah, that makes sense. Warlock Bard was turning zombies into robots. Wizard artificers mass producing magic. Gotcha. Okay. Well, hey, that sounds very neat. Radiant damage came from laying Celestials upgrade. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, hey, cool. It sounds like they have a good idea of what different upgrade paths and different boons and banes from the pre-war era is going to affect your characters' equipment. So that the only thing I would caution you with there is that your GM is probably also giving similar bonuses to the other side. Just if they're having like an infernal bane or something like that. But honestly, that sounds like a lot of fun. Rolling 6d6 +8 on a hit is gonna be very satisfying. Yeah, very cool. Okay. I don't need to set up any sort of for examples there, so let's go ahead and grab our I believe it's the Cunning Strike here. Yes. Mark of the Inward Eye Cunning Strikes. So we had kind of figured this out beforehand, and this was originally a part of the core class. However, it is better suited to be an archetype-based feature in my mind, so that's where it is now. So, Mark of the Inward Eye Cunning Strikes. So when you use this, you can decrement your momentum dice by 2d6, and then you can knock your opponent prone with high attacks. Found it funny that my character, the bard in the war room with the big celestials, acting as a scout for the fiend's defenses, helping protect people, setting up teleporter circles to teleport in allies for the attack. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, a bard in the war room, it sounds like a funny situation, but honestly, I can see that working rather well. Now, I forget how long ago this was, but I was in the chat, or like kind of like lurking on a Matt Colville stream, where he was talking about an encounter for that he was running for some of his friends, and they were talking about, like, it was pre-war. It was going to be seeing what characters are going to be able to act in what capacities for the war efforts and such. And so at this meeting of two different diplomatic parties, they were saying you can bring two of your party members there with you. So they have their allied leader, and they have their hostile leader, and they're going to try and make negotiations before combat fully breaks out. And so the players were choosing, okay, two of our party members can go in there, can influence the events here. Who's going to go? And I believe they sent the warlock, who was kind of being the party face, and I think they were expecting some sort of skullduggery to get around, so they brought a cleric. And the party bard stayed behind. And so in that meeting, the enemy party murdered one of the NPC heir ascendants to the throne, thus providing no... Actually, it wasn't a cleric, because they would have revived him. So I think it was just a fighter, like a technician. The point kind of doesn't really matter that much, because the idea was that the bard in the war room was all about how public is the party going to be with the information that they learn here. Because the bard would be the eyes, the ears, the charismatic face who is presenting information to other people around them. They're an agent of, maybe not the empire, but an agent of intention, of intuition. And so with the murder of said noble, and the bard wasn't in the room, it was implied that that was going to become something that only like 5 people knew about in that room, whereas the bard would be able to, you know, spin that out going forward. And so it's just a kind of a politics sort of thing there. But that's me telling someone else's story, and definitely messing up parts of it. Find it funny because your character, the bard, was in the war room with the big celestials, acting as a scout for the fiend's defenses. I mean, as a scout, so you're learning all about their defenses. You're going to be talking about and sharing that information with other members of your party, with the other parties, and you're going to be able to disseminate that information very closely to how you observed it in the war room because of your bardic training. Even gave suggestions based on past interactions with grouped up flying enemies, because we took down harpies before, used hypnotic pattern to knock them out of the sky. Gave suggestions like that. Exactly that sort of thing. That's why bards are very good in the war room, because they are excellent communicators. And conflict that would result in warfare and warcraft is going to be, at least on a D&D scale, is going to be inherently based on how well read and how communicative party members can be. So yeah, hell yeah. That sounds like a very fun campaign, and I would definitely enjoy being a part of that. Or at least that's the kind of game that I would love to run for my friends. So kudos, that sounds like a great time. All right. Let's see here. All right, so we have Cunning Strikes here. So our next ability is going to come online at 5th level here, and that is going to be more more insightful mechanics. And so we have 5th level Scholarly Understanding. So 5th level here, you can non-magically cast the spell Comprehend Languages with a performance time and duration of roughly 1 hour. You learn a new language of your choice and gain proficiency with 2 skills of your choice that are either based on your intellect or wisdom modifiers. So that's kind of what this feature does. Let me go ahead and figure out how to write it, and man, I think that already might be my time coming up. So let's go ahead and get this ability written. You can perform the. Hang on. I want to be very careful here about using words because rituals are kind of a thing in this game, in that it's all just spellcraft with different casting times. You can cast the spell Comprehend Languages with this feature. When you cast this spell, it has a preparation, performance, that's the word. Performance time of 1 hour, and its effects last until the next time you complete a short or long rest. Complete a short rest, because short rest is going to be the same for long rest or extended rest. It's also a lot of fun, but funny thing is, once the DM gets his hands on the playtest for Neon Odyssey, plans to drop our fancy characters into the sci-fi setting, potentially making us go down to level 1 because we wouldn't know how to use tech. I mean, that sounds fun. I was getting some ads for Neon Odyssey. I don't know enough about the kind of setting in general, but I mean, look, fantasy and sci-fi have been intermixed so much that like they are very fluid as far as genres can be. And like even going back to AD&D and such, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks was a very classic AD&D adventure, and that is all about, I believe, finding a crashed spaceship, and then your D&D characters go in and investigate and make out with the loot of 1,000 worlds. Or I know that's just me quoting Treasure Planet. Like it's that sort of thing where you're collecting this sort of alien technology that basically 80s style with 42 races, because that's the answer to the universe. Hell yeah, that's I love stuff like that. It's a little dorky, but like that's the fun. It's 80s style, so you know you've got all these neon colors, pop rock, synth, like hell yeah. Jeez, that is huge. 42 ancestry options, 52 subclasses. That is going to be a monster of a book. Like, kudos to the developers. That's fantastic. Like, page count's going to be nuts. Effects last until the next time you complete a short rest. Effect of this when you cast this spell, its effects are considered non-magical for the purposes overcoming spell negation, purposes of overcome. Its effects are considered non-magical. I don't need to put anything else in there. Its effects are considered non-magical. There we go. So it can't be counterspelled, it can't be dispelled. And why am I using this as the spell comprehend languages? Because fundamentally this is, you are hitting the books for a deep hour, understanding the core basics of a lot of different languages that are related to the encounter you're going into, and then until the next time you take a short rest and kind of like take a moment to breathe, you can understand the basics there. Juggernaut. My favorite has to be the Juggernaut Ream Barbarian. That has the subclass that basically lets you be He-Man by invoking the power of an object to give you strength, leave a little reflavoring. You can technically do Sailor Moon. I mean, I'm not the biggest anime guy, so I don't know a ton of references, but like, Barbarian is the magical girl class of D&D. Like, it's the one that has the straight up transformation. It has the stance based, like, when you are in your rage, you are in your magical pose, like you are within that element. Like, it's a stance based class, and so like really any sort of stance based class could fit with a lot of those archetypes, but 5e only has the one for some reason. But yeah, no, Barbarian absolutely would work for like a He-Man, because like he's very in that sort of Conan style barbarian, kind of classic fantasy of that. I'm doing a bad job of explaining it, but you know what I mean. Druid subclass lets be a Pokemon trainer. I know people who would be into that. That is, once again, that's not something that I necessarily would jump on myself, but like, I know people who would love it. Like, I was actually having a discussion on Reddit. Someone had posted to, I believe it was one of the TTRPG design forums, about trying to create a Pokemon inspired game. I was reading a bit about that and throwing some insights in when I could, but yeah. I'll keep that in the back of my mind next time I run into something like that, so I can point them in that direction. 5th level, you also learn one language of your choice and gain proficiency on one additional. I don't need to say additional, just you learn it. Next thing too is that they also recently reached their Kickstarter goal to add combining mechs. Oh my gosh, like, how are they going to do this all in one book? That is genuinely fascinating. With two skills, use either intellect or wisdom ability scores. Two skills. All right, that use either your intellect or wisdom ability scores. Things like 3 books. That makes sense. That's the thing that makes so much sense with like 1,400 plus pages. Yeah, because 42 ancestries, 52 subclasses. That's, in my mind, that's what, 42 2-page spreads. That's 84 pages. 52 subclasses at what, like 3 pages a piece, if that, maybe 4. Yeah, 52 times 3 plus 84. That's already 240 pages, and like you can then take that. I mean, it's gonna be full 16 million for their Kickstarter. Holy cow! That is something that genuinely passed me by. I got a couple ads for it, but man, that is, well, one, congratulations to the developers, to the designers, to the team behind it. That is fantastic. I've just never heard of it before. But dang. I wonder, is it tied to like an actual play series or to like an existing campaign setting or like lore? Or is it just like, we have a very ambitious goal and we have a lot of it pre-written? They have a lot of miniatures and dice. Okay. Gotcha. I'm beginning to see why that would need to be high, because miniature production, dice production can get expensive. Like, it's kind of hard to see behind me there, other side there, but like that box up there is Aeon Trespass Odyssey, and I've also got Descent beneath it, Legends of Avantris. Okay, it's all coming full circle here. That makes sense. Dang, kudos to that team. That is fantastic. I wish them the best, and yeah, I'll have to look into maybe doing a late pledge or looking into it, because just seeing what all is available, because that sounds like a genuinely fantastic kind of sci-fi fantasy adventure module. All right. Looking at the time here, unfortunately for me right now, it is burger time. I've got to go and fire up the stove, fire up the skillet, get those cooking. But dang, hang on. It is what, Neon Odyssey? Yeah, burger time. I want to pull this up here. Yeah, Neon Odyssey. I'm gonna just. Space opera and D&D by Legends of Avantris. Hell yeah. Funded in seconds. That's very funny, and I quite appreciate that. All right. Genuinely, that's absolutely an insane list. All right, but hell yeah. I'm gonna have to look into this a bit more. All right, but I hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of the day. I will hopefully be trying to jump back on here. It's gonna be difficult. Maybe I think next time I might be able to jump on is gonna be maybe Monday. But I will be around. I'll be working on kind of getting presentation up and going here for the RPG. But I hope you guys have a good one. Yeah, if you notice, can't pledge anymore. Yes, but they will probably have a late pledge that they open up. That is a pre-order. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I will see y'all in the next one. So take care.